Welcome back to Docket Decoder. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Lauren Matthias and all the drama that's unfolding around her and her channel, Hidden True Crime. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the most recent video that channel has put out, and that is a video that largely features Lauren's husband, Dr. John. And I've got to be honest, when I was watching this video, it brought up a lot of emotion for me. There was a part of me that completely understands the instinct behind what he's doing. I mean, I'm a husband, and if someone is coming after my wife, if she's being hurt or being attacked online, my natural instinct is going to be to protect her. I feel like that's just human. It's not even a choice. It's kind of a built-in response. So I get that. And I think that in that regard, the story makes sense. I think as you watch the videos that have been put out, it's pretty clear to see that both Lauren and Dr. John are feeling hurt. They feel betrayed. They feel misunderstood. And that emotion, that raw need to defend the person that you love, it's something I think that most of us can relate to. So I don't want to fault him for being emotional. Honestly, I think that makes sense and is to be expected. But what made the video so hard for me to watch wasn't the emotion itself. It's how it completely took over. As I listened, I could feel how his own emotions were shaping every conclusion, every theory, every explanation. And as an outside observer, it was hard not to notice how skewed and at times almost irrational some of his reasoning became. I'll admit there were parts that even made me laugh out loud because the logic just didn't hold up. But when I finished the video, I had an uneasy feeling in my stomach. And as I thought about that, I guess I realized why. And I think it's that Dr. John wasn't just speaking as a husband defending his wife. He was also very clearly speaking as a licensed psychologist, which really is his role on the channel. And those two roles, husband and psychologist, they didn't mix well for this kind of situation. And that's when it really clicked for me. That's what made the whole thing feel so wrong. It wasn't just the drama. It was that dual role that he was stepping into. One is a deeply personal, emotional role, intertwined with a professional, authoritative role. And when a psychologist blurs those lines, it's not just awkward, it's unethical. So I decided to look up the American Psychological Association Code of Ethics, which is basically the rule book that licensed psychologists are supposed to live by. And yeah, the situation sets off alarms on multiple levels. That dual role alone is a huge ethical red flag. But as I kept reading through the Code of Ethics, it became clear that there were a lot of other ethical standards that he probably violated as well in this video. Now let me be clear, I'm not a psychologist. I don't claim any expertise in professional ethics. This video is just my own personal opinion and commentary. It's meant for entertainment, really. But after watching that live stream and then reading through the Code of Ethics, I couldn't help but think, if I were the TikToker in this situation, I'd be seriously considering filing an ethical complaint. If I were Dr. John, I'd feel very concerned about how I was going to be able to defend my license in front of an ethics board if this gets brought up. Honestly, the whole video would have landed very differently if he would have just started it off by saying, "Now look, I'm not speaking as a psychologist right now. I'm speaking as a husband who wants to stand up for his wife." That simple disclaimer would have erased a lot of things in my mind, and it would have at least clarified the context. But in reality, he did the exact opposite. He opened by formally identifying himself as a licensed clinical and forensic psychologist. He told the audience that he'd be analyzing the situation from a psychological perspective.
I want to talk about what happened, but I want to do it more philosophically and more psychologically. So we're going to get into things like the psychology of stalking. We're going to get into the nature of this conflict, the nature of why people, or the different conversations people are having since you released your live, whether you're lying, whether you're telling the truth, right? Like whether you were stalked, is that just free speech? Right? We're going to cover all of that. And we're going to cover that from mainly a psychological perspective because I am a psychologist. But since
you have your PhD in psychology.
Right, not philosophy. Just to clarify, a PhD is by definition a doctor of philosophy.
Don't worry, I covered that in my life.
So
we're good.
Yeah. So Correct. I am a licensed psychologist. I am a clinical and forensic psychologist. And so we're going to approach this largely from a psychological perspective.
And that's the moment that I realized this wasn't just emotional, it was ethical. Because the second he said that, he wasn't just a husband anymore. He was a professional, and he was claiming expert authority over a personal feud. And that, according to the APA, opens the door to some very serious ethical questions.